So Samantha wrote to me with a question about breakups. She says, my life fell apart when my partner of 7 years broke up with me last month. I'm 26 and my future looks so dark right now. I realize my whole life was weaved into his and I now have no idea how to figure out who I am. I cry all the time and I have no desire to get out of bed. Please help. Samantha, I am so glad that you wrote to me because breakups are painful, but they don't have to leave you broken. And there are 3 steps to getting through and over a breakup. Validate, separate, and celebrate. And I'm gonna break these apart one step at a time. Number 1, validate. That's the stage that you're in right now. So when a breakup is really fresh, it is extraordinarily painful. And the reason why is because endings are very, very hard for all of us, particularly when you're ending something that's important to you, which clearly this relationship was important to you. So when I say the first step is to validate, I mean, you gotta validate the feelings that you have. It's real. And so you got to understand that you're going to need time to process the breakup. You're going to be sad and disoriented for a while. You're not going to feel like getting out of bed. So the best advice that I have for when you need to validate where you're at is I'd like you to put Sam Smith on repeat and listen to sad songs. You might want to binge watch something like Grey's Anatomy, because what ends up happening when you validate and saturate those feelings of being sad and depressed and rejected and lonely is that the more sad songs you listen to, the more you start to feel suffocated by it. You can't stand it, you'll hyper process it, and you'll want to move on into the next step. That's step 2. Step 2 is separate. So you have to delete all of their accounts. Delete them on social media, delete the text, delete the email, block them. You must do this for real, for real, for real. I don't want you tempted to look. I don't want you to even think that they might be texting you, which is why you need to block. The second thing that I want you to do in order to separate is I want you to make a list of all of the things that you haven't done in the last 7 years because you've been in this relationship. Make a list of all the things that you didn't do because, quote, your whole life was weaved into his. And that's a huge mistake that so many of us make. We basically get into a relationship and instead of it being 2 individuals, one of you morphs into the other person. You may have even forgotten who you are, and that's part of the reason why you're feeling so disoriented right now. The other thing about separating is you're gonna be tempted to miss the person. You're gonna be tempted to wanna reach out to the person. I need you to have a plan B. So make a list of all the friends or family members that you have in your back pocket, and whenever you're tempted to look at that person's social media account or text your ex, I want you to text one of your friends. The final thing is celebrate. You're not ready to do that yet because you're in the stage where you need to validate your feelings. You're not ready to celebrate yet because you have not actually separated from the relationship yet. Of all the things that you didn't do or couldn't do because you were in a relationship and you're ready to move on, now it's about getting into a mindset of celebrating. And by celebrating, what are we celebrating? Well, you're celebrating the fact that you have the opportunity to actually rediscover yourself. You have the opportunity to figure out what you like. You have the opportunity to meet new people. You have the opportunity to do things that you haven't done in the last 7 years. And so the number 1 assignment when it comes to celebrating is every single day, you got to do something for yourself. It can be something as small as buying flowers or pouring yourself a glass of wine. Don't worry about the airplane going by. We're talking about celebrating you. It could be getting and treating yourself to that spin studio class. Whatever it may be, every day do something that celebrates you. And finally, just because you're in the celebration stage, I don't want you focused on replacing the person or sleeping around to validate yourself, because getting over someone doesn't mean you're supposed to get under everyone else. You know what I mean? So focus on celebrating you as the individual. And the final thing that I want to say is that yeah, breakups are hard. They're supposed to be hard. You're going to get through it. This is an acute moment of time where you feel like the waves are crashing at you. Guess what? With time, the waters are going to settle. And the other thing that's cool is that this is actually going to be an incredible addition to your life. It's an addition by subtracting somebody that wasn't working for you. So I hope that that helps. You're going to validate, then you're going to separate, then you're going to focus on celebrating.